At the ending of Dragon Ball Z, we saw that Majin Buu was reincarnated into a good form in the form of UUB. This was due to the wish that Goku made just before murdering Buu with the Spirit Bomb. Now, during that last episode of Dragon Ball Z, we saw Goku essentially giving a diagnostic test to UUB, where he wanted to see what he was made of and how good of a fighter he was. And it's safe to assume that Goku, was not left disappointed with this. And we as the fans, we were not left disappointed so far either, because we saw this new upcomer who was very strong, and he was technically an earthling, a human being, so something similar to Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien. And in my book, that's extra points, even though he's a reincarnation of a magical demon or whatever have you. Still an earthling. That's a point for earthlings in my book. Now, that being said, even though we left off Dragon Ball Z with such hope in our eyes of this new upstart, we find that coming to Dragon Ball GT, after a brief cinematic, a cool cinematic, where UUB is finishing up his training with Goku, after that brief cinematic, which was very cool, UUB was basically not used in Dragon Ball GT whatsoever. Now, he was used in certain key aspects, but even the parts that he was used, he was a joke, basically. He didn't really fulfill his potential that could have been done if the series was, taken better care of or whatever have you. So in today's video, we're going to see what can be done to fix UUB, to make him more of a character. Now, let's first outline the issues with UUB as it stands. Number one, lack of characterization. I think the character is lacking significant depth. That is one of the major issues. We don't see how he acts under stress, how he views the relationship between his village and him. We don't see him actually, full on protecting people, how he deals with certain things. I think those things need to be explored for his character to be given more depth and whatever have you. Secondly, his differentiation from Goku in terms of his fighting style. UUB, well, at least before it turns into Majub, he fought very similar to Goku in a way that I think makes sense, of course, because Goku is his teacher. But I think that if we were to develop the character more, we can actually give him a different form of fighting style that best suits his mindset, his anatomy, and his history as well. If you don't remember what happened during GT, the PLF gang accidentally made a wish on the Black Star Dragon Balls, and their accidental wish was to turn Goku back into a child. Now, the consequence of this was, because they used the Black Star Dragon Balls, the Earth was said to be destroyed in around a year or so, and this forced Kid Goku, Trunks, and Pan to travel across the universe to collect the Black Star Dragon Ball before the Earth was destroyed. Here we are presented with two ways onto which we can develop UUB into a more prominent and more fleshed out character. We can either, option one, make him replace one of the members on the expedition squad, or we can document his adventures on Earth as being its, main protector, quote unquote, while Goku was off planet. Now, out of those two suggestions, I personally prefer option number two. The reason being, I believe it allows for one, more world building on Earth. And some of you might say, but we got enough world building on Earth and whatever have you. I think that the Dragon Ball Earth, it has a lot more development that can be shown, especially on UUB's village, UUB's culture, and overall get more of what drives that character. We saw that in the ending of Z. His main motivation for actually fighting was his village. So with option C, we get to see that village, the people who he's fighting for, the elders, etc. And I believe that would help develop his character and lore, essentially. For option one, the reason why I am kind of against this option is because it's kind of hard for me to imagine any one of the three characters out of the main trio being replaced. Because for Pan, you kind of need that, sass and whatever have you. For Trunks, it kind of makes sense for him to be there because he's a mechanic, he's the tech guy. And for Goku, well, he's the powerhouse or whatever have you. If anything, UUB could replace Goku as a powerhouse, but that would take some liberties and that would take some creative writing. I would find it interesting, but I think the safer route would be option number 2, where Goku, Trunks, Pan, they go off world and we focus on the threats that attack Earth while they are gone. I think one key issue with UUB is his differentiation from Goku in terms of his fighting style and how he acts. So going with option 2, where he's the quote-unquote sole protector of the Earth, we get to see how does UUB handle certain situations. All right, how does he operate under stress directly? We got to see a glimpse of that when he fought Baby, right? But this can be further fleshed out more with him fighting weaker opponents, fighting stronger opponents that might roll across or whatever have you. Along with that, I think it would also give the other secondary characters of GT, the ones that stayed on Earth, so people like Vegeta, Goten especially, GT Goten especially. I have a video on that. You can check that video in the link in the description. I suggest it would also give those characters some more time to shine, because you can also have UUB working with Vegeta and Vegeta giving him some advice into how to fight and the proper fighter's mentality, the proper warrior's mentality that differs from Goku in a certain way. You can give GT Goten some more development and how he deals with certain emergencies and develop that bond between those two characters, UUB and GT Goten. So much potential. Along with that, with option number 2, where UUB is the quote-unquote sole protector of the Earth, we can actually hopefully, in my head, I would love if Goku taught that dude Kaioken. It doesn't make any sense to me that in GT he did not try to pass it on to UUB, because UUB I think would benefit the most from that technique. But any little thing like that we would get to see in this option 2, and we can also see how UUB's fighting style would differentiate from Goku's and how the techniques he would develop would differ from Goku's and whatever have you.